Hello, my name is Rachel and I'm here today to do my TBR for the Mentalhealth-A-Thon, which is taking place during the month of May. Mentalhealth-A-Thon is being run by Nicole for a beautiful chaos of books, Rachel, Marie and Cait, and it's all about just trying to read books that have a focus on mental health or have mental health involved in them in the month of May, which is a great idea, so I wanted to join in. There is a grid where you can cross off certain things like OCD rep or depression rep or things like that. The first two things I'm going to mention though are kind of not mental health related. I mean, you could kind of count them. I am halfway through reading the new copy of Popshot Quarterly, which is a kind of like a magazine, but it's amazingly published, and it has all like pieces of art and then poems and short stories, flash fiction, stuff like that. So I'm gonna continue reading that one because that's really good. And then I also have Lanny by Max Porter, just because I have to read this. Like, Grief is a Thing with Feathers was amazing. It was one of my favourite books that I've ever read. I loved it so much. So this could have mental health in it. Grief is a Thing with Feathers dealt a lot with like someone's mental health and how they dealt with grief. So I mean, this could do, but I don't know. I've not heard anything about it, but I just have to read this, like 100% have to. I don't really know much about what this is about because it's a Max Porter book, and Max Porter writes some very weird stories. So if you try and read any of this, it doesn't really make sense, but I don't care because there's a magic in his non-make-sensory. So yeah, there's that one. Okay, so now onto the books that I am hoping to read for the Mentalhealth-A-Thon. Two of them are rereads. So the first one is a graphic novel, and that is This One Summer by Jillian Tamaki and Mariko Tamaki. I loved this graphic novel and I just want to reread it. But I do remember that one of the parents of the kids is suffering, I think, with depression. You never really find out what she's suffering with because you see it from a child's eyes. So you kind of see the child not being able to understand that she's ill, and we understand that she's ill. It's really well done through the drawings and the pictures, but the child is kind of like, oh, for God's sake, why are you being like this, blah 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 blah, because she just doesn't, like, she doesn't understand what a mental health problem is yet. And so yeah, I really love this book. I think it's really well done. It's just about two girls living in like little beach cottages over the summer and just their relationship and things like that. It's a very, very, very good book. So I'm going to be rereading that one. And then the other book I want to reread is one of my favourite books of all time, and it is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I adore this book so much. So I read it just before I went to university for a mental health class that I was doing, and then I reread it while I was at university. However, I wasn't in the best place both the times that I read it, and I had some difficulty. So I will say the difficulties I had were due to like self-harm problems I've had in the past, and this is done so well and with so much of a fascination with certain things like suicide and things like that, that it can be a little bit on the triggering side. So I think I'm better now, and I feel very like capable of reading it now and not struggling as much. But yeah, I just wanted to like let anyone know if they're going to read it. It's a bit of a touchy one, but it is absolutely fantastic. I love it so much. A lot of people talk about this as being semi-autobiographical of Sylvia Plath's life. It's just about Esther Greenwood. She moves to New York, and it's about her dealing with expectations of her as a person, as a woman, and her mental health and how that all ties together. It's an absolutely fantastic book. So yeah, I'm going to reread this one, which I'm really excited about. And then the other book I have isn't a reread, but I've already started it before, and it's kind of a funny story by Vizzini. So about a year ago I was reading this book and I was in Switzerland, and I brought it home to England with me, and I was still reading it in England, and then I thought that I'd put it back in my suitcase to take back to Switzerland with me, and I hadn't. So I didn't want to put this book down, I just had to put it down because I'd left it in another country. So this is about a boy called Craig who has depression and like suicidal thoughts. There is a film of this which I have seen and I think is pretty good, but whenever it comes to like mental health stuff, the book's always going to be better because you get the inside narration of a character who's in that mental health situation, so it's always just like a little bit better. So yeah, I'm going to start from the beginning with this because I think I got about halfway through it, but obviously it's been a year, so I'm going to start at the beginning of this and hopefully finish it. So we've got that one. This is a bit on voices as well. Vizzini himself was in a psychiatric hospital and unfortunately also committed suicide. So Craig basically checks into a mental hospital because he has had a suicidal episode. Then I kind of have three non-fictions. The first one is this Rough Magic, a biography of Sylvia Plath by Paul Alexander. I've been wanting to read this for ages. Another one that I got but I was in Switzerland. I think I got it at a secondhand shop and then I had to go back to Switzerland, and this is a very heavy book, as you can probably tell. It's like hardback and huge. This is just about Sylvia Plath's life, and I love Sylvia Plath's writing. I love the way that she discusses mental health stuff, and I love that she put that out there. I think a lot of people, especially at the time that she was writing, were embarrassed about anything like that, and the fact that she was so honest about it and just put it out in her writing I just find phenomenal. I'd really like to know a little bit more about her and her life. This is just a biography about her and her life, her very famous marriage, I'm assuming. So yeah, I've got that one. I think this is one that I would dip in and out of. I don't know that I would finish the whole thing this month, but we will see. I'm saying that to cover myself because I picked a lot of books. I got excited about the whole mental health thing, and then I was like just grabbing books left, right and centre, and now I have a lot of them. So I said that I kind of had 3 non-fiction. That's because I think this is a fictional version of a real account. So Lily Elba was a real person who transitioned, I think around the 1930s, and so it is real. But this, yeah, it says on the back it's loosely inspired by a true story. So this is like the film version, like it's not a non-fiction of her life sort of thing. But yes, this is about Lily Elba, who was born as a man and knew that that wasn't the right body for her, and so transitioned into a female during her life. Next we have Frances Crait, The Tragic Bride, the true story of Reggie Cray's first wife by Jacky Hyams. So Frances Crait, well, Frances Shay actually, she wanted to be remembered as Frances Shay, and she asked for Frances Shay to be wrote on her gravestone. Just so happened that her husband wouldn't allow that to happen, so really people should call her Frances Shay, but as you can see, people do not. So she was basically married to one of the Grey twins, which if you don't know were like some gangsters in England in the 60s. And basically Frances married one of them and she was very unhappy. I don't think she actually wanted to marry him. But he like pushed and pushed and pushed, and she ended up marrying him, and they were married for 2 years, and then she committed suicide, and she had a lot of mental health problems related to, I think, her marriage, and like she was in an unhappy marriage, she was unhappy with her whole situation and all that kind of stuff. So I just always wanted to know a little bit more about her. I saw the film Legend a few years ago with Tom Hardy and Emily Brown, and I think it's a fantastic film. It's one of my favourite films, and I find the whole story kind of fascinating, so I think it'd be really interesting to get a little bit more of a backstory to her instead of just how she's portrayed in the film, because I have seen that it's her niece. So her niece has actually discussed her at length and said that she isn't someone like in the film to just be like pitied and stuff. She was like, no, there's loads of good stuff about her as well. She did this, she did that, she's really funny. So it'd be nice to like get more of a view of who she was as a person. So yeah, we've got that one. And then I have the rest of my fiction books. So the first one is Too Bright to Hear, Too Loud to See by Juliann Garey. I think it's Garey. This has been on my TBR for ages. I bought it so long ago, but I think because I've never heard anyone talk about it, I just found it in a bookshop and thought it sounded interesting. So it's one of those where like, if no one's talking about it, it's not the one you're picking up. Like everyone's talking about certain books, so you're like, I want to read that because everyone says it's good. Whereas this one, I never had that because no one talks about it. But I've been wanting to read it for a really, really long time. So yes, I would like to read this. So I'm going to read one sentence off the back because it actually sums it up a lot better than I can. So basically, Grayson Todd, a successful Hollywood studio executive who leaves his wife and young daughter for a decade to travel the world, Rome, Israel, Santiago, Thailand and Uganda, and give free rein to the bipolar disorder he's been forced to keep hidden for almost 20 years. The entire narrative unfolds during 12 30-second electroshock treatments in a New York psychiatric ward, building interweaving strands of memory into a literary page turn at first order and a brilliant look inside mental illness. And this is the writer's first novel, but it says on the back that she was the editor of Voices of Bipolar Disorder, The Healing Companion. So it seems like she has a little bit of experience with bipolar disorder, so I'm hoping it's a good representation. The next book I have is The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness. What have I read by Patrick Ness? I've read A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. I think that's it so far. And this basically follows some sort of like a Harry Pottery type, like a story going on where you're following the characters that aren't the chosen one. I think that's basically what it is. Like I said, I don't actually know that much because I try not to read that much into books because then I get spoilers. But this has OCD rep and apparently eating disorder rep as well, although I'm not sure what eating disorder representation there is. There's that one. I mean, this is quite popular, so I feel like a lot of people are already going to know what it is. But yeah, there's that. I'm also hoping there's some LGBT stuff in it because Patrick Ness has wrote some LGBT fiction, so I'm hoping this is one of them because, you know, always like to get some LGBT fiction in there. Then we have Asylum by Patrick McGrath. This is a book that I've read about half of. I was doing it for a mental health class at university, but so much reading at university that I just didn't get through it. But I remember that I wasn't massively far into it. It's like 100 pages and so much had happened. I remember it just being like, every page there was just like something new going on and you're like, what the fuck? So I really have been wanting to finish this for a long time, so I'm going to try and pick this back up. This takes place over the summer in the 50s, and Guy, who's like the warden of a criminally insane asylum, and his wife lives there with him, and I think they live there with their child as well, and she basically falls in love with one of the patients, basically. So I don't know how this will be, but I've wanted to finish it for ages and this seems like a good opportunity. So got that one. And then the last book that I want to read is one that I'm super excited about because I've wanted to read for years and just have never done, and it is The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides. I have wanted to read this for a really long time. I watched the film years and years ago, and I bought the book because of the film, because I really liked the film but I felt like it'd be the kind of thing that was better as a book. And I always hear about this, like loads of people love this book, and I just have never read it. This follows 5 girls who end up committing suicide, and basically there's a group of boys who like try and figure out what happened. That I don't know how closely that is the same in the book, but that's basically what the film is. I'm really excited for this one. So yeah, they are all the books that I'm hoping to read. I'm going to correct that. They are all the books that I'm choosing from for this TBR because I'm no way going to read all of those. But we can hope, we can dream. So yeah, if you're taking part in Mental Health Fun, let me know down below what you plan to read. If you've read any of these and you think there's one I should pick up first, let me know and I will do that. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye!